Now, last but definitely not the least, we have Eyung Lim and Johnson Cole from GovTech. Now, Eyung is the Director of Government Digital Service. He has been instrumental in shaping the digital service delivery landscape in Singapore. He spearheaded the Digital Experience Design DXD sandbox to help government agencies to adopt data-driven and design-based approaches in their projects. Now, Johnson is a principal UX designer and a key pillar in supporting digital transformation within the government. As an artist, designer, and a casual coder, he aims to build UX and UI designs that can help to improve the quality of lives for Singaporeans. Now, together they will be speaking about how industry and government can come together to co-create a digital space. But first, let us invite Eong up on stage to kick off the presentation. Eong, please.
Testing, can hear? Can I? Okay. A very good afternoon. Okay, my name is Eyong. I just decided to deviate quite a bit from my slides. So anyway, whatever I'm going to share, you just listen, okay? Thank you. Anyway, I understand from the organizing committee, what is the portfolio of the one who attended this, and I thought I want to come from more a designer perspective first. So, in fact, a little bit of introduction about myself. I'm engineer by training. Then after that, in my past life, I've been spending 5 years doing data researcher work, right? So I look to the left, look to the right. Data researcher, I don't quite blend it in because I'm the super talkative type, right? All the other data researcher just work and look into the data. Then after that, I change. I go into education sector to teach IT engineering courses. Then I try to also use the talkative as a strength to try to counsel students and stuff like that. 4 students come to me for counseling, all 4 successfully withdrawn from school. Then after that, I try to think about it, data skill set, engineering background, and stuff like that, right? Then here I am, landed in GovTech, right? Leading a team, trying to support Dominic in this journey itself, right? That's a quick introduction. So today, in my team, there are designers, there are engineers, there are behavioral insights people, there are also data analysts, delivery managers, so on and so forth. But in terms of designer perspective, I have to tell Randy, I don't have 165. I only have 16, right? But regardless, I think something put us together. I also want to resonate very well with what Keith has mentioned. Is really about the sense of purpose, right? So some of them are behind anyway. Okay, so what put our designers together is really this sense of purpose that because government is facing a totally different set of issue. So I believe just now when you sit through the presentation, maybe from the private, from the government, you can sense that there's a very big problem, big differentiation here, which is in the government sector, we are solving very fundamental problems, but yet they are very real. So because of that, you can see that, some of the designers, suddenly you don't see them because today their working time is nighttime. You know why? Because they're working on okay, this word I just learned because I work on this project. It's called destitute sector. Destitute basically means homeless. Don't feel shy, I also just pick up this word, right? So if they need to work with the destitute sector to see how do we help them, then basically at the nighttime, their working hour change to nighttime. And to follow the patrol officer to go under the bridge and help to observe how it works and stuff like that. There'll be also a few other designers that help to look at the HDB rental flat. How do they revamp the pool court system and stuff like that, right? Then they will be the one visiting all the different rental flats. So it's very much driven by the purpose, right? That bring the whole team here. So I want to start by also summarizing just now based on what Dominic has mentioned, right? So what exactly are we doing here? So if I may summarize into 3 points. So first thing is that almost like everyone in the room, I look at all of you, right? Maybe, 400 of you, right? Each of you will have a different need, right? In terms of your life moment, right? Second point, if I look into each of one of you, right? One of you, then perhaps there are a lot of opportunity for us to streamline the kind of services that we are going to offer to you. So I always ask this as when I like in any social gathering, right? We always ask people try this question. Guess what? If let's say in Singapore context, when we conduct this research, for someone who just got pregnant, not me, of course, female who just got pregnant, all the way until the kid go to primary 1, how many different agencies you have to deal with? Want to guess the answer? 2, 4, 6. Just to prove that we got work, 8 to 12. 8 to 12 agencies you have to deal with for the raising a kid moment. So those are the very real questions that we have to tackle. So that is my second point. Oh, sorry, I need to learn to use this. Okay, never mind. Okay, that's the second point. And third point, this is also very interesting. So I try to explain it beyond the words. In the past, when user experience just came into the government, I think everyone was very excited about it. Everything was about, I try to present the best possible experience to the citizen. At that time, we focused a lot on the surface, which means the presentation layer. Or if you're engineering background, we talk about system of engagement. But we never look at really what is the back end, the current state of the engineering, the legacy system and stuff like that. We just try to hardwire for us to present a good experience. Can that be done? We have tested. The answer is can. That can be done. But the problem down the road is that then the effort downstream to do the maintenance is even more than that, right? So which is why last time we keep on using the word remember maybe just 3 years back, we keep on saying this user journey, user journey, user journey. But if you talk about user journey map, typically it's just the front end layer, right? But today, in the government itself, we try to strongly encourage everyone or every single designer, don't look at just user journey, but look at service blueprint, because it is both a combination of the front-end experience and also the back-end processes. So that is already a fundamental shift. So I think Dominic has shared a little bit of this, so I think I'll just leave it as it is. Now, I look at a lot of your profile. Basically, a lot of you are basically designer by training, right? And some of you are engineers as well. So I think this probably won't be looking too alien to you, right? This is just a typical design, kind of a design thinking kind of approach. But it actually, if you truly go and practice it, right? I want to look beyond this diagram and talk about a few transformative parts. How does it really impact? And what are the hard learning points? The first part, of course, if you talk about the research and ideation, just now, when I started this conversation by saying that at least our team, we group together because there's a sense of purpose, right? Now, sense of purpose is both end. One for the user end, for the business end, is also for our own internal team end. And in fact, the research and ideation stage, right, if I look from the other perspective, is to provide that sense of purpose. We talk about agile. We talk about we want to get the team co-located together. But co-locate together for what? And this is it. This is the important ceremony for you to all get together for the common purposes. So in fact, to be 100% honest, we went through the round of a lot of the project. I heard a lot of my friends, even in the private sector, we all want to go and chong and do the project, right? Because we think this is super emergency, super urgent and stuff like that. But with or without this particular stage, it basically has a great deal of difference. Now, before I move on, if you look at this particular stage, rapid prototyping stage, right? Okay, I hold on, I cannot move because I think it will go away. Okay, you see that, right? Okay, now. So that part, of course, there's no hard and fast rule how much kind of rapid prototyping you have to do. But as part of the internal team kind of learning, right? Just now Randy mentioned design is actually a learning process. You see, I got listen, right? It's a learning process, right? So as part of the experience learn, we are a little bit fixated about before even a single code is being developed, right, we actually have a few rounds of prototyping and testing done already, right? So in fact, in terms of our prototyping testing, right, we actually even test up to the high fidelity prototype. Now, there are a few reasons, right? We always talk about in the agile context, we want to fail fast, fail fast. Many people taboo about, well, what do you mean by fail and stuff like that, right? But actually, I don't mind failing. As long as the failing is at a prototype stage, right, then the cost to fix is super, super low. So that day, I engaged a group of senior stakeholders. They say that, oh, based on the past record, by the way, a few projects that we have been working on, for example, the IRAS My Tax Portal, if you look at the whole interface design, if you look at the resale portal, which we cut short the two appointment to one appointment, 16 weeks to 8 weeks, then the new portal, step-by-step journey-based approach, that one also a product by the team. So if you look at that, so people ask us like, hey, how can you be sure that the thing you roll out are successful, are working and stuff like that? So I answer the gentleman in a slightly emotional manner and say that it's not because we always successful, it's because we failed behind you. We have already tested the thing, so of course, there are higher chance for us to be successful. Okay, I need to speed up a bit because I want to leave most of the time to Johnson. Okay, so basically this is what I mentioned about the personalization. I think Dominic has mentioned, right? So this is the current state of like, how do we power the front end, right? Good user experience, but at the back end is powered by the different agency setup. So because I come from an engineering background, but working closely with the design team, so I can also appreciate that the very important idea when you have a service journey approach is really about how do you stitch the different services together and offer still a seamless position. A seamless kind of experience. It is not easy, because for each of the service that you stitch together, right, they could have different SLA. This service has 95%, the other service has 99%. What do you do when any of them is down? You know that when you put different services together, basically what you're getting is the lowest denominator, right? Then how are you going to make this happen? That pushed us to achieve higher level of ops tech integration, right? Which is why a lot of effort has been put in to drive this kind of automation, to drive even the front end, the feature toggle, so on and so forth, right? And back from a designer perspective, are these user experience? Are these design related? I would say yes. So which is why today, I'm sure as a designer, you all know that there's the process called ceremony called inception and stuff at the beginning of the journey. It is a mandate today in the team to say that even at the inception, it's not only a designer job. Engineers, solution architect need to come in early to do it together, right? Of course, as the system grows bigger, we also talk about how do we do distributed agile. If we segregate ourselves by an API call and stuff like that, that is the easiest problem to solve. But what if we need to check into the same code base, right? So anyway, I just list out a few things that we are heavily invested on to make sure that we build for this kind of environment. Reusability code, we leverage on commercial cloud because a lot of things are already there. We don't want to reinvent the wheel for every single thing. Want to make it more microservice is for scalability as well as for reusability. Then we go for micro product approach, and as much as possible, we want to drive more automation. So this is just one example to say that, within the government, we also have certain product to say that when we onboard all the different agency, but as a central government team, we hold on to the front layer, the interface layer. But as the intermediate kind of service, we can work with any part of the industry to work with them, right? To slowly, to enrich the service offering, hiding behind the interfacing layer. That is how we can respond faster, even to the ever-changing kind of need from business and also from the citizen. These are something that I mentioned just now, so I wouldn't. The last part, just give me maybe 1 more minute. I want to talk a little bit about, again, I want to resonate to what Randy has mentioned just now. We are also taking a baby step in looking at the content strategy, the content part of the thing. We have a very unique, I don't know whether it's fortunate or unfortunate, but we are standing at the center of the government that before we talk to the citizen, right, at the back end, I have to interface citizen with 15 different government agencies standing at the back end. So how do I wholesale take in the content, right, from them? After that, rewrite them from the citizen perspective and offer to the citizen. That itself take a lot of content testing work, content strategy, so on and so forth. So this is just one example of the baby step we have taken. So basically, it's the same content. It is around the end-of-life moments journey testing. So we just roll out these 4 different versions and test with the citizen. And guess what? The first one, this is to prove the point that whatever thing you put it outside there, it's not just about the word, it's not just about the visual. There are also emotion behind, which is the most important part of all, right? So, for example, in this case, they responded by saying that, oh, you might be thinking a lot from a designer perspective, but actually I don't understand what you're talking about, right? And the illustrations are too small. This might be telling that, oh, at least I can see roughly from the illustration, you asked me to plan earlier. But at the same time, the slightly not so positive type, they say end of life is really, really serious. So make sure you choose the color well. And this one, they bluntly just ask you why you put a Microsoft Outlook logo there. And last but not least, they say that there's a butterfly there, it looks good and stuff like that, right? So there are a lot of this kind of thing waiting to be invested and waiting to be done. And it is not just about the design itself. So I think that's the end. I want to take this opportunity to invite Johnson to stage to talk about what is the next step for us to work closely with the developers from the community.
Hello, everyone. Okay. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the communities. So why do we form the communities around the government products specifically? So it's a continuation from the movement that we did last year for Stack 2018. So throughout the event, we actually identified that there is a lot of interest in government tech. I mean, there are 1,500 attendees, and 40% of them are from private sectors, and 60% are from the government. And based on the content that we have shared and the workshop that we have presented, we achieved 83% of satisfaction rate, and that seems to be overwhelming for us. So based on all these stats, right, it sort of give us a thought on, okay, how can we leverage on this crowd, because the crowd has wisdom. All right, so within GovTech itself, we have 2,000 of us, and across the government as well as the partners and vendors, we have 160 over 1,000 people. So yeah, how do we gather all the knowledge that this group of people have? And of course, why do we form communities around our product in the first place? Because throughout the event, when we talk to our users, we realize that it helps us to know them better, so that we can prioritize certain features to be more useful for them. At the same time, while we are talking and when we are documenting things down, they are preserved somewhere, be it on the intranet or internet, but they are all over the place. So we are trying to find ways to consolidate them all the way in a central space. And also by talking to our users, it helps us to understand. Through the question that they ask, it helps us to know how our products are being used. And also, if there are certain products that is being asked a lot, you know that it has a higher value versus those products that nobody talk about it at all, then you all know what to do with it. Like, okay, so how do we build communities within the government? So the first thing that we thought about is like, how do we like build a structure for so many people to collaborate on the same space across all the different government agencies as well as department to write different things about different things of the product. The first thing that we start to think about is the developer portal as the first tool for everyone to use. The second will be the events calendar and as well as the forum, but that one will be much later. Okay, so I'm going to share with you all what we have done so far. So, okay, developer portal. Within the government digital services team, where I'm from, we have built many services, and we have some failures, and we have some successes as well. So throughout the learnings, and we do roughly know what a good service look like, and roughly how to build one. So developer portal is meant to showcase those kind of best practices. It doesn't meant to be. It doesn't mean to be fixed rules for everyone to follow, but it's more about sharing what we have tried and what actually went well. This is roughly how it look like, similar to Carousel. We have almost no branding over here. It's not super fancy at all. Yeah, it's just a little bit better than Wikipedia. It's on beta right now. You can go to go.gov/developer portal to take a look. It's beta, and I think it will be beta for a long time because while we are trying to onboard new users, we do learn some new things, and we are constantly iterating on the content as well as the website structure. Okay. All right. Just sharing a little bit about how while some of you guys are exploring the website. So just to share about how did we came about building the developer.gov.sg website. Okay, the URL is not live yet. I will let you all know when it's live. So first of all, we realize that there is a lot of people who has insights to contribute, but at the same time, they are not engineers. They can be people that is like very proficient in operations as well as policies. So we need to find a way to gather all this content without spending a lot of time trying to meet each and individual of them. And of course, if I were to share this problem with anyone, they would just tell me, okay, just install a CMS, and then and let everyone just write to it. But in reality, if that is to happen in the scale of the government, what agency would do is they would actually find one representative to hold that account, but they may or may not be the one who is contributing to the content. They might just consolidate all the content to this representative and then ask the representative to publish, and hopefully that it will go live. But at the same time, hosting such a service for so many people and organizing all the representative is very tedious, and it would be very inefficient if we were to do it ourselves because our team is very small. So the first thing that we thought about it is like, okay, we are trying to find a ways to build a crowdsourcing CMS. And we want the developer portal to be fast as well as search engine friendly. At the same time, it's a static website because the cost involved in hosting a dynamic website is much more expensive than a static one. And of course, a developer portal doesn't have to be dynamic in the first place. So our solution is to build a static website with Jekyll. Everything is open source over here, with Vue, as well as many other open source components for both technical and non-technical contributors, hosted on GitHub and Netlify. Okay, when we talk about Git, right? It's familiar to developers, but it's because it's only familiar to developers, and it's not really our actual audience who may not be technical at all. So it may be a little bit daunting on the steep onboarding curve for those people, because it doesn't behave like a traditional CMS like WordPress where you can just log in and start typing away. So we built a WYSIWYG content editor that allows anyone with any kind of technical background to focus on just writing good content. Okay, then again, it's not super fancy. This is roughly how the page would look like when you first try to write something. So there is an edit this page button when the moment you click, and then there is this simple editor, and then you can start writing away. Okay, so in order to just publish this, you need to verify that you are from government with the government email. Once you key in, you will send an OTP to your government email, and then once you publish, there will be a dedicated reviewer to review the content that you posted, you're trying to publish. So this reduces the onboarding for contributors, because anyone within the government can write something, but it doesn't mean that it will get published, because there is a dedicated reviewer to ensure that whatever that you are writing makes sense before it will get approved, and then it will generate a pull request to the GitHub when it will go live. Okay, last but not least, okay, this is not magic. So communities take a lot of time and passion to run. So what we are building here is just a tool. Okay, it doesn't mean that with the tool and then you'll get community for free. It takes effort from everybody. Okay, lastly, this is my team. It's not just developer portals team, it's GDS, because we are just a small group of people building the tool, but at the same time, GDS produce a lot of good products which allow us to write good content on the developer portal. Lastly, I would like to thank Chao Ho for his full support to our development. Okay, this is my last slide. Okay, so if you like this kind of events, go to our go.gov.sg/meetup. Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Johnson.